Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Leo Cato, the King of Elegancia.
And I'm Francis.
We're super excited to announce our new podcast. It's going to be, based on the dance scene. We're going to talk about a lot of different topics from, things that are very common, things that are a little bit controversial.
Yeah, we have a couple questions and topics that we wanted to start out with and see what we think about them. Okay, you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, let's do this. Okay, so I think the first things first, it's really important to talk about relationships and dating. So, so why is dating in the dancing so hard? The first question, why do so many dancing relationships struggle?
Oof. That's tough.
What do you think, babe?
Sips on tea.
This is water. Which, by the way, we have the little Cato Studios logo here.
We are currently filming in Cato Studios and Events located in Albany, New York. Shout out to our venue. Okay, so coming back to the question.
Oh my gosh, the question, yes. Okay, so why do so many dancing relationships struggle?
Why? Where do you want to start? You want to start first?
Yeah, I think growing up, I've been dancing since I was little, and obviously when I was younger, I didn't think about dating like that. So I would just have crushes on boys, but the older I grew, the more, I wanted something stable, to have a family, and I found that a lot of people in the dance scene just have commitment issues, and not just commitment issues, but even when you are in certain types of relationships, if you can even call that a relationship, is not stable. I think it's an environment that you're meeting a lot of people at different festivals. It's in a high sex environment. And so a lot of people have a lot of options. You have one festival one weekend, the next weekend you're going to be somewhere completely different, a different state. So people have a lot of options.
All right. For me personally, let's get back to the question. You can ask it one more time.
We're going to do this a lot. Why do so many dancing relationships struggle, babe?
Oof. Well, I think the thing is that the first and most important thing is that we have to be realistic about where we are in life. I think sometimes just because we love someone or we really like someone doesn't mean that we're necessarily ready to be in a relationship, if that makes sense.
That's good.
And I feel like even me, I'll be personal. I feel like there was a certain point in my life, a little bit earlier on in my, in my dance journey that, I did meet amazing people that I really did like. And I think, and some I might have even loved, but I just don't think I was exactly ready for that level of commitment. And I think there's this fine line between really loving someone and wanting to be with someone, or thinking you want to be with someone, but actually being ready to commit. And I think that, as a man, and I can just speak for myself, of course, I think that that's where you start to blur the lines. And coming back to what you were saying,
I feel like that doesn't have to do with the dancing then? It's just men in general?
It's not about men, because I think a lot of women have the same challenges about not being ready. But I think we have to be realistic. As you were saying earlier, we're constantly, as a dancer, whether you're an artist or just a regular attendee, we're constantly going to festivals every weekend. We're dancing with 100 girls, 200 girls, or for as a woman, you're dancing with maybe 100, 200 guys. And, you're going to find people of all shapes and sizes, and people that you're attracted to, people you're extremely not attracted to. And I think that, as someone, especially someone that's newer in the scene, or someone that's in a place where they're just being exposed to this, it's very easy to get lost and feel like, oh my God, I have access to this and this and that, and then this person likes me, and I dance with this person, and I get this attraction that, I think it could become very cloudy. So if you're not really set and comfortable with who you are, and you haven't experienced that, I would say just coming into the dance scene, I would say maybe stay out of a relationship until you discover that part of you.
Yeah. I think I remember when I was a new dancer, social dancing, I thought I had a different perspective. I was more like, oh, everyone's gonna be nice the same way as me, and a lot of people are gonna want a relationship. But I found that was, I guess, not the case, that they were not the same. I found that the more festivals I went to, the harder it was to even build a deep connection with someone. So I feel like I struggled a lot that way when I was younger, because I couldn't fathom the fact that someone, like, if you dance with someone and you had a really deep connection, like in the dance, that didn't necessarily mean that they were actually into you. A lot of times I remember now I understand that it's just dance, but back then I was like, oh my God, like this was a really close dance. I felt like he was into it. And come to think of it, after we ended the dance, it was like, okay, thank you for the dance. And like, that was it. They didn't want to speak to you. Like after, you sometimes build friendships, but a lot of times they were just not interested. So
yeah, I mean, and then it comes down to like, even when there is interest, what is the end goal, right? Because just because I'm interested in someone doesn't mean that I want to get married to them, right?
yeah, that's true.
Right. So if I create some kind of connection with someone and I like this and I'm like, oh, I feel some hot chemistry, is not like, oh, that means that I feel this hot chemistry. I want to go to the altar tomorrow and get married, right?
True.
So, maybe they're looking for a one-time thing. Maybe they're looking for a three-time thing. Maybe they're looking for a week thing. Maybe they're looking for a month. Maybe they are looking for a forever thing.
Yeah.
But I don't think that an attraction necessarily implies that, hey, I'm looking to be serious with someone and I want to be with them for the rest of my life.
Yeah. Well, talking about attraction, our next question, I think you get this more because you performed a lot more than I did, obviously.
Yeah.
Can you separate performance chemistry from real attraction?
Yeah, that's a good question. I feel like
Or chemistry.
when you say performance chemistry, you mean like social dance, like social dance chemistry.
General, yeah.
Yeah.
With your dance partners that you've had, like how was it?
Yeah.
The chemistry that you had with them as dance partners
Right.
versus real attraction.
For me personally, I may or may not be the best example. Unfortunately, I have had quite a bit of partners, dance partners. I'm referring to.
It's okay.
And
Happens to the best of us. I'm gonna drink some water for that.
But I have had quite a bit of dance partners, and I think that we all had varying
Different relationships.
different relationships completely.
Okay.
I have been in romantic situations with some of my dance partners, and then there's another half of them that I never had anything romantic
So
ever.
we talked about this earlier. Like, how is it when you have a romantic relationship with your dance partner, you stop having a romantic relationship with that dance partner, but you continue dancing together? So how do you like handle the chemistry and the attraction that you guys had versus now you no longer have that relationship, but you're still dancing together? So how do you separate what you had? Like, do you just snap, like, oh, let me just turn off the button and I'm no longer attracted to them? I'm no longer... Or how does that work? Because I've obviously never had like a dance partner to that extent, so I don't know.
Yeah. So I've had this situation 2 times where, I was in some way, shape, or form together with my dance partner romantically, and then we ended up breaking off the romantic side and try to continue the partnership. One of them, I found that it was a tough transition, but we were able to continue our brand and keep going, for
how long did that
some time.
take? How long did that take?
Well, because at the time we had a very big and strong brand, we just had no other choice than to kind of put our feelings aside to continue our brand. Now, ultimately, it didn't last forever, and a lot of things transpired, but we were able to kind of put that aside. Another situation, that I had, or another partnership that I had that also was romantic, immediately once we ended things romantically, it fell apart almost immediately.
I think a lot of us know of, we're not going to name names, but a lot of dance couples in the bachata scene that have been together and are no longer together romantically, but still stay dancing together because they have such a huge brand and name that it's what they do.
Well, I don't think we have to is not a big secret, and I
Not
think
everyone can do that, but yeah.
right. But what I mean by that is that like I would like to shout out some of these amazing couples that were able to like keep it. Like for example, Marco and Sara, right? Good friends of mine. Like they, you know, at one point they were in a relationship, and you know they ended their relationship, and they've built a incredibly like serious worldwide brand off of that. Pablo and Raquel,
Completely respectable people.
yeah,
It's amazing
Ronaldo,
that
you know,
they were able to,
yeah,
accomplish that. I mean,
Absolutely.
when I was younger, I would always think like, oh, that's crazy. There's no way that they're not together anymore. Like they're still dancing together, so they have to be together.
Yeah,
That's not necessarily the case, but
Absolutely.
I think that's something I had to like kind of just grow out of.
Well, I think at one point, like when we really started to see this influx of social media and bachata, you know, Daniel and Desiree were at the absolute top, and everyone kind of wanted to mirror and be like
they
Daniel
had.
and Desiree.
Yeah.
So whether it was, you know, Daniel and Desiree set the standard, and Ataka and Laleman, of course, they set the standard of connection, right? Wanting to dance close. So at first, you know, in 2013, 14, 15, people danced a little bit farther, but once, you know, Ataka and Laleman came with this very sexy bachata, and Daniel and Desiree came with this like sexy, close up, intimate, people started to want to, to imitate this. And, you know, I don't know. I just feel like, you know, we've kind of gone through phases.
Yeah.
Yeah, with that.
Well, let's change topics, questions. Let's see. How do you handle your partner dancing closely with others?
You want to start? Or you want me to start?
I think there's boundaries. I've talked about this with Leo before. I think that it depends on who you're dancing with. Like if it's Clau, I love you, cosita. Obviously, I wouldn't be affected by like if he's super close, like nose to nose.
Right, but
If it's a regular social dancer that's not a professional and you're like nose, almost kissing, I wouldn't be comfortable with that. I think there has to be some sort of like professionalism
right, I
that
get
I
that.
would expect.
But then that's super controversial because then, for example, let's use Clow as an example, right? Let's say, theoretically speaking, right, I am super attracted to Clow and I like Clow in that way, and I'm dancing with her in that way.
Okay with that.
Right. So
I love to go about
right. But my point is that just because two people are professional doesn't mean that they can't have a romantic chemistry.
Agreed, but I think I would be just, not that I would want to have a romantic chemistry or whatever with them. I just feel more comfortable with someone that understands boundaries versus someone that might want something else because they don't have that professional like mindset.
Right, but what I'm saying, and I agree with you, but I'm just saying that how do you know that another professional doesn't necessarily want something more?
I don't know.
You don't know, right?
Yeah.
That's where it's like, and again, this is not like to trip each other up. This is like, right, it's controversial. Like, you know, it's just like on a person by person basis, I feel like. So
how do you handle like me dancing closely to others? Because you know I'm not professional, so.
Right. So, you know, the thing with me and the way that I feel about all of these relationships and dancing close with other people in general, I mean, it starts from off the dance floor. So the connection that we build, the kind of relationship that we build, and our connection and how we go about things in our everyday life kind of determines how I feel. Like, for example, if I feel very secure with you overall in our relationship, I feel that we're really in love, I feel that, you know, I feel that we have a really nice relationship and we respect each other.
But do you feel like there's still things that you shouldn't do when you're dancing with someone?
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to dance, you know, lip to lip or nose to nose or be combing your hand through the hair. I mean, that I feel
that's what I'm saying.
I mean,
there's boundaries.
There's certain things that are a little bit too much.
Like you're not gonna put your hand on a girl's ass. You maybe would do that to me. Ow, but
I would do that to you. But even you, I wouldn't do that on the dance floor for the most part. You know what I mean? It's just not.
I would grab his ass. Like, come here.
Well,
that's my man. I'll let everyone know.
I don't have
touching his ass.
I don't have the smallest booty on the planet, but you know.
Squeeze her butt.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
Moving on.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Let's see. Next question. Is it disrespectful to flirt through dancing if you're in a relationship?
Define flirt. I mean, I don't. What does flirt mean to you, right? Because what flirt means to you and what it means to
like,
me
I guess.
to somebody.
Oh, okay, I see. Okay, because outside of the dancing, when someone asks me for my Instagram or for my phone number, I'm gonna be like, oh my god, like they're trying to get at me, and I'm gonna say no, obviously because I'm in a relationship. But it's super normal for when you end a dance for that someone that you dance with to ask for your Instagram.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's normal. It just depends on their intentions
and their energy.
Yeah.
Vibe, yeah.
But a lot of times I've gotten people's like Instagrams and I'm like, oh yeah, go ahead. Here you go. Here's my Instagram.
Yeah.
I thought it, I've always thought that it was normal.
It's complicated. And I'll tell you why. Like, my situation and your situation is very different. Like, for example, for me, if someone's like, oh my God, as an artist, a traveling artist, I can't really be like, oh no, like, I'm not going to give you my Instagram because they can just easily find me.
What if that a girl's trying to, like, you know the vibes, you know the energy when someone's trying to holla at you.
Right.
So whether you're an artist or not, you still have to be respectful because you're in a relationship.
Still got to be respectful.
So how do you control that? Like, there's...
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
No, I get what you're saying. It's just like, as an artist, this is one thing that, I'm a firm believer that overall, artist or artist not, there's just certain ways you have to act and conduct yourself. This is one of those things that are a little bit gray edged because, like, even if I feel that someone maybe doesn't have the most pure intentions,
you would still give your Instagram to...
They're going to find it either way. If I'm an artist,
you're right.
Think about that. If I'm an artist, all they have to do is go on the flyer and see my name and see my thing and type it on Instagram. It's going to be the first thing that pops up. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So so by me saying,
follow them. Would you follow them?
I don't necessarily know. I don't need to follow them. But in terms of like withholding my Instagram is like withholding the inevitable. Like, either they're gonna ask me.
I don't have that problem,
right? Because you're not an artist, right? Yeah. But the thing is that with me is that, like, okay, first off, if I say, I'm not gonna give you my Instagram, it looks very sus as an artist. And even if I said no and they're like, okay, this is sus, if they really want to find me, they're just going to go on the flyer and go on the event details and they're going to find me.
Yeah, you're right. So, I think for me, I've because I'm not an artist, it's easy for me to like kind of tell what someone's intentions are based on like the vibes. And I have said no, even when I've been single, I've said no to guys or girls that have asked for my Instagram after because I can tell. And I'm like, no, I have a boyfriend. Even before I had a boyfriend, I'd be like, no, I don't have Instagram. Yeah, I don't have a phone. Sorry. I don't
have a phone. Got your phone in your hand talking about you don't have a phone.
I don't have a phone. Sorry, can't give you my Instagram. So yeah, I mean, even before I was single, I can kind of tell. But it's easier for me to say no than I'm sure it's easier for Leo to say no to an Instagram. So yeah. But anyways, we're going to go into our last question. So our last question, are dancers more commitment phobic?
Oof.
Yes, especially instructors in Orlando. Just kidding.
She's kind of like she's been hurt before, right? I think that instructors and artists, So I'm going to say yes. I'm going to agree with you.
I think dancers in general. But
I think artists, especially artists and instructors, and the reason why I think that a lot of artists, just because of the way that like people put certain artists on a pedestal,
more than regular dancers, like artists are more.
Absolutely, because and the reason why I feel that way is because as an artist, and just speaking from my own opinion, like there's some artists, male artists, let's say, because I'm speaking from a male side, that I'm also I'm good.
Just making sure he's hydrated.
I'm hydrated. She don't want me in the middle. No, but I feel like there's some male artists that had they not had a name, or not had they not been popular, or as an artist, no girl would even look at them. Like on the street,
like for real, for sure.
On the street. If they were like, oh, hey, how is it going to
no one would know.
No one would be like, they'd be like, oh, get away from me. But because this person has a name and a status, it makes them more attractive in the eyes of that person, right? So in terms of commitment, I feel like because a lot of artists have a lot more opportunities, to whatever, to meet people or to connect with people in that way, I do feel that they have so many options, and I think that all those options make them confused and make them kind of like, okay, I kind of like this person, but well, I also like this person, and I want to. So I think it does make them less likely to want to commit because they're just like weighing out the options. But I think that this is a problem in life overall. Like, think about it. The infidelity rate has jumped so much in the past like 20 and 30 years. And
the divorce rate.
And the divorce rate has also, and you know what I truly feel? It is so largely attributed to the internet and social media. Because, here's the problem. You get in a fight with your spouse 30 years ago, okay? You're at home, no cell phone,
you have
nothing.
to deal with it.
You gotta deal with it.
But now it's
right. You
can find someone.
Right. All you gotta do is go in your inbox, and you probably had some guy already hitting you up talking about you're so beautiful and you don't deserve this and this and that. And we just have so many options. Like I open up Instagram, I have access to almost any single person on the planet, just like you have access to any single person on the planet. And I feel like that tool has kind of caused us to like be more likely to work on our problems and really try to work through things, and more likely to be like, oh, well, I'll just find somebody else, or I'll just change,
Well, also, obviously, we have a successful relationship that I'm very thankful for, but was there ever a time that you did have commitment phobia in the dance?
Yes, the entirety of my career.
Okay. So thank you, Jesus. I'm gonna just thank you, Jesus, for that.
Guys, I'm raw. I'm real. I'm honest.
Was there a switch that you just turned on and off to like, okay, now I want to be committed
I'm gonna
to someone?
tell you.
Like, how do you? Because as a girl, I cannot. I've always been looking for something serious since I was younger. Maybe there was a point in time that I was like, I'm done with guys. I am not dating anybody. Yeah. If it happens, it happens. So I was just wondering what you thought about that. Like, if it was just more like a switch that you had, how do you?
I'm going to tell you like this. My last, not including you, but my last 2 relationships prior, the switch had already turned. So I was
off?
No. In the sense that like I became the person, I was already the person who I really wanted to be. In terms of commitment, and
last relationship.
And the relationship before. So that was like within the past 2.5, 3 years, right? But prior to that.
So do you feel like also too, it's when you meet someone that you are starting to look into the commitment, or is it like a specific situation that you go through?
No, I think it's a combination of it's a combination of you being ready and where you are. Yeah, like
not the woman.
Yeah, not any person. Is where you are in your life and who you meet at that point. So you can meet the person. This is the person of your dream, but you're not in the right place in your life, and it's not going to work.
But right? I feel like that's for guys, because I remember when my oldest sisters, both of them got married. My oldest got married a couple years ago. And I was always like, oh my God, like I want that. I want to get married. I want to have a family. Like, and both of my sisters have always been my role models to what I want in life. And even before they got married, I remember always having conversations with my mom, just like, Mom, I just can't find a guy that wants to commit. Like, I'm just heartbroken a lot of times since I was younger. My first relationship ever, I was 21 years old, and I was heartbroken, and I wanted to get married even at 21 years old. So I feel like I've always just wanted that. So I don't think for me it was a person that I met or a situation. I think it was more of a mindset. I don't know if it's all women that think like that. I'm sure it's not.
No.
So even outside of the dance scene or in the dance scene, I've always wanted that. There have been periods in my life where I stopped dancing. I took breaks from dancing. And even from the breaks that I took, I still wanted the same things. If anything, outside of the dancing, I was like, oh, I think I'm finally going to meet someone. I'm finally going to get a guy to commit because they're not dancers.
Right.
So.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's tough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting question. But anyways.
Interesting question.
All right. Well, you ready to say bye-bye to everybody for our first
say
episode.
goodbye. Guys, I hope you enjoyed our first episode. This is raw, definitely not rehearsed, and this is our first time.
I wanted to have a teleprompter. I'm like, Leo, and then we will have to have a teleprompter because I don't know.
The thing is that like we don't want to do with a teleprompter because I think like with the phone and having our bulletins and lists of stuff keeping us on track is great. Just because I want this to be raw, like authentic, like we're having a conversation, not rehearsed.
These are real things that have happened to dancers and still happen to dancers like us. So I think it's important to talk about them because we don't really know of any one that talks about these issues. It's kind of just something that goes behind the scenes.
Right.
So yeah.
Well, guys, we really hope that you enjoyed our first episode, and we had a good time. I think we definitely got into some interesting topics, and we have a lot more left and coming up soon. So
yay. Okay. Bye.
Bye, guys. That was good, I think. Yeah.
Good.